Hello, Franklin. It's Monday. I'm Eric Stuckey, your city administrator, and it's time for the top 3 things you need to know this week. And just like we did a couple weeks ago, we're going to focus in on one of our specific services here at the City of Franklin and give you some important things. It's probably even more than 3 things. We talked to our customer service and revenue management a couple weeks ago, and this week we're talking to our building and neighborhood services department. And I have with me today our director of building and neighborhood services, Tom Marsh. And it is an important department. It's focused, a lot of times we think about public safety being police and fire. Well, they're not the only ones. Our building and neighborhood services plays a critical role in making sure our homes, our public spaces, businesses you go in are safe and effective places to interact in. So Tom, tell us a little bit about your department and especially what you were standing in front of, which is our service commitments.
Good morning, Eric and everyone. Thank you for joining us here. As you said, the Building and Neighborhood Services Department supports the life safety and quality of life for residents, visitors, and businesses in the city. And we do that through administering our adopted codes and ordinances. And we know that we support the development of the built environment. And in developing the built environment, we know that one of the things that's important to residents and particularly the large private developers that are making investments in the community, one of the things that's important is a defined timeline. They want to know how long something is going to take to be approved and built. One of the things we have done, we have adopted service commitments for every application that comes in, non-residential and residential projects, and a variety of other requests we receive, letters and information. We provide a definitive turnaround. For example, most non-residential applications, the initial plan review is 20 business days, and the follow-up revisions, if necessary, is 10 business days. So those are our standard commitments. Mm-hmm. And as you know, we also have many types of projects. Smaller, non-residential, and most residential projects are eligible for our one-stop service.
So right here.
Right here. Every Monday and Wednesday of every week, we have building permit application one-stop with the hours. And then the first and third Wednesdays of each month, we have land development applications. Those are even earlier in the process, development plans, site plans, final plats that have gone through the full development process. When they have a few outstanding conditions to meet before they're ready to go to permitting, they have the one-stop eligibility to clean up those last permits before they're ready to move on into permitting.
So you can come here and get lots of answers and keep moving, making progress on whatever they're working on. A lot of times it is, like you said, targeted for folks who may not have all the expertise. They come in and we help them answer questions. So we talk about One Stop as a process, but it's also, we kind of refer to this area as our One Stop area. So we're going to go into the department and show you this. Here we go. We're going to walk into Building and Neighborhood Services.
This is one of the front doors to the city.
Mm-hmm.
We welcome citizens here all the time, particularly on the one-stop days. They'll meet a representative at the front desk, talk about whatever their question or issue is. And the thing about One Stop, what we guarantee our customers is an answer that day. Mm-hmm. And we have staff available in all the specialties to do plan review, but also just to answer questions. And that's where this starts.
So you'll get all of that. So let's go in here a little more and we can show you physically some of the things you will be able to learn in a one-stop, but also what you can get online. So we've got a big monitor here. We'll show you some examples. Show us a little bit like a typical question somebody might have about their property. What would that look like?
And we just pull up their address, for example, 109 3rd Avenue South, and the map zooms right in for us, and we can turn on various layers. We'll just stick with the zoning right now. And we can click, when we click on that property, we see the zoning description to downtown district, and our staff will sit here with the applicants. People ask questions about what does that mean in terms of side yard setbacks, lot coverage.
How I can use my property, what's allowed.
What are my permitted uses? Mm-hmm. And we have our handy dandy zoning ordinance right here so we can get through that with staff. And also if they get into more in-depth building questions, we have our library of code resources here on the shelves behind me so that our technical staff can sit with someone right here and go through as many questions as they can in a short amount of time.
So in the codes that we have are not just special Franklin codes. Tell folks about that.
Absolutely. The City of Franklin has adopted the International Code Council series of codes, building, plumbing, mechanical, and electrical. are your standard. We've also adopted a few other in the international series, energy conservation code, green building code, and things like that above the basics. But mostly building, plumbing, mechanical, electrical, and like you said, those are international codes, not City of Franklin specific.
So we use things that are nationally and internationally endorsed as best practices of the best way to have safe buildings and safe structures. So
absolutely.
Sometimes you hear people say, "Oh, they're Franklin codes." We don't have Franklin codes. We have international.
Yes,
codes.
sir. And there's a new series of codes every 3 years. We're currently on the 2018 series of the codes. And one thing, that is a 3-year process through design professionals, engineers, architects, insurance companies, design companies developing new building technologies to improve the safety and quality of buildings. So that's a 3-year process that each version of the international code that leads into what's created that we, the City of Franklin, have adopted and do our best on every project to enforce those codes.
All right, so let's close it out and talk about the level of activity we've seen and maybe a little bit what people can see themselves online. That'd be good too. But so just last year,
Yes, sir.
how many people came through One Stop?
We
How
had
many permits?
About 1,300 customers come in for One Stop.
Okay, great. And then we issued permits somewhere around what? How many different total permits?
About 6,000 permits.
Okay.
That's all building, plumbing, mechanical, and electrical.
And
And that's
that-
been pretty consistent
Okay.
throughout the last 3 years, even through COVID. It's 6,000 permits plus or minus a couple hundred.
So what's the scale of investment that represents in the community?
Let's go to an online resource because I
Let's
can't
go see it
make it
online.
easier. So on our external webpage, franklintn.gov, under Services, Development and Building Services, there's a section here called Development Reports and Maps. What we have here are the quarterly and monthly summaries. So I'll just go to the last quarter. This was October through December of 2021. And that shows you the total number of permits, a lot of details, break down specific types of permits. One of the things people are often interested in is the number of new dwelling units. So 745 total dwelling units in that quarter, and the breakdown of single family and multifamily. And one of the things that I know that you're often interested in, the bottom line, the total investment in the community. So in the fourth quarter alone for that calendar year, $203 million of investment. And as you recall, the total for 2021, $556 million.
right.
And that was calendar year 2021.
So that's real investment. That's not just, I might build it someday. These are people pulling actual permits and then going and building and making that kind of investment in our community. So over $550 million in 1 year is pretty phenomenal. And that's larger than we saw pre-COVID in 2019 and larger than we had in the first COVID year of 2020.
Yes,
so the activity has continued. It's a strong statement in how interested people are in our community and investing in it. So I think we've covered a lot of ground. It's a lot of stuff. There's a lot more than 3 things, but it's always helpful to see the great work that's going on in our departments. And thank you, Tom, and thank you to your team for the great work you do.